I encourage use of LinkedIn because people are looking. People are going to background check you wherever. You might as well give them something that you can control, that you can make sure is reflecting you in the best possible way. So LinkedIn is like your own kind of real estate on the internet. So you just claim it.
This is the Public Health Insight Podcast.
Before we move on, it is important to note that the views expressed in this podcast are our own and do not represent any of the organizations we work for or are affiliated with.
In the previous episode, Gordon and LaShawn spoke with Camara Tuffalo, resume writer, LinkedIn consultant, and job search strategist, where she talked about the importance of cover letters, when to include them in a job application, and how to structure them in a way that is engaging for the reader. In the final part of the discussion, Camara remains with us to share some easy strategies you can use to optimize your LinkedIn profile so that you will leave a positive impression in your network and potential future employers. This is where they left off.
So, LinkedIn is, I would say, probably one of the more professional social media platforms. And I've heard rumors personally that employers are now, sort of actively investigating your digital footprints if you're a potential candidate being considered. How true is this?
Very, very true.
Very true. Okay, so you heard that. So make sure your profiles are, up to standards. So on that note, that was a very quick answer. Appreciate it. So in the terms of the practical sense, how do we ensure that our LinkedIn profile is standing out, or at least not hindering our chances of getting considered for a job?
We want to have, first of all, a full and complete profile. So there are certain parts of LinkedIn profiles that you don't need to invest time in, but we really want to focus on a few key areas. Headline, we want to make sure that that is well written and not just auto-populated with our current role. That doesn't really do us any favors. So headline, we want to make sure we have a profile picture. So we definitely, when we were talking about resume pictures, LinkedIn is the opposite. We definitely want to include a professional picture on LinkedIn. Professional, yeah. Remind me to speak more on profile photos because I have some thoughts on that. So headline, and then the about or summary section. So we get a lot of space in the about section to write about our own story. I think it's up to 2,400 characters now. Used to be 2,000. So that's about a full page of text. And so we have a lot of space to play with. We have a lot of space to share things about ourselves. And I can get into more specifics around that as well. Then we have our professional work or our work experience section. We want to make sure that's full and complete and that we're actually talking about our work, not just including the title and the company. Education, we want to make sure that's filled out. We want to make sure our skills are well defined and skills that we actually possess and skills that we actually need in our career. And then we also have our recommendation section, which is often overlooked and but very valuable to us.
So I guess in terms of, digging a little deeper into that summary section, because I know that's like one of the first things I look at when someone adds me or I add someone. I want to get to know them a bit more. So in a nutshell, what would you want to highlight specifically in that section to stand out?
For sure. So certainly talking about where you're headed in your career, but I think it's really interesting to share where you've been as well. So how did you get into public health? How did you realize that you wanted to pursue work in research, public policy, things like that? What about your personal background really lends itself to or kind of lit a fire in you to have a passion towards public health or working within the field? So sharing things like that would be really valuable and make that section quite engaging. So that's mostly what I would recommend. As we get further along into our careers, we can also pull out a few of our biggest career wins, biggest career highlights. There's a lot we can do with that section because it's free form. Yeah.
Curious, I guess, about that, the big career wins or career wins. How do you do that in a way without showing off too much or coming off as rubbing people off the wrong way?
I think we're so geared towards modesty that anything that goes against that feels like arrogance or bragging. But it doesn't read like that necessarily. So you can talk about things that you're proud of, or that you found memorable, or that you, when you reflect on what you've done in your career, things that stand out to me include this, or like things like, in my career, I really hit my stride when I did this, or a big milestone for me was when I did this because it led to this. There's just a lot of different things that you can share, and I would not stress that it comes across as arrogant or braggadocious, because oftentimes I find that profiles, resumes, everything that's written, it is overly modest and not properly marketing ourselves. So I'd rather people stray more towards bragging, if that makes sense, than to not.
We didn't really touch on this for the resume section, but a lot of times in resumes we do my team, when we should really be talking about how integral we were to that whatever particular project getting done. So is that kind of more of the same vibe where we're too modest and it might actually be hurting how people perceive us?
Yeah, we definitely don't want to downplay our contribution. After all, your resume, in particular, this is important on your resume to not downplay your contribution. On your resume and on your LinkedIn, you're marketing yourself. You're not trying to get your colleague a job. You're trying to get yourself a job. You're not trying to build up your employer. You're trying to build up yourself. So yeah, definitely we want to make sure that we are talking about, as you said, our contribution, our involvement, our participation in whatever it was. Where it can be valuable to say my team is particularly if you are a leader of teams. So under my leadership, I guided my team to this. Or if you really want to talk about how great your team was, I was lucky to lead, or I felt lucky to have the opportunity to lead a team to achieve blah, 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 blah. So you're kind of peppering in a little bit of modesty and a nod to your team, but you're still taking credit for your work.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of the times we often are modest in public health. So that's definitely a note to take. I guess kind of taking it back a bit, for someone who's maybe thinking, hey, maybe I don't have a LinkedIn profile, why should they make a profile, and why would it be beneficial to this whole job searching process?
So I encourage use of LinkedIn because people are looking. People are going to background check you wherever. You might as well give them something that you can control, that you can make sure is reflecting you in the best possible way. So LinkedIn is like your own kind of real estate on the internet. So you just claim it. Yeah, employers very actively use LinkedIn, like very, very actively. And so it's the best place to be. If you can leave every other social media platform behind, but LinkedIn is the one thing that I really hope people embrace, because you are being background checked, so you might as well give them something good.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
One more thing to add to that. I have applied to jobs, and I know one of the things you mentioned in your advice is to hyperlink. Make sure you hyperlink the email and hyperlink the LinkedIn profile. And, depending on the privacy settings you have or the person viewing your file, you might be able to see who's viewing. And I have seen times for when I've applied to jobs that you could see kind of when a recruiter is checking you out, and it's kind of cool to know. So even if it's just for that purpose alone, it's pretty good to have.
Yeah.
Kamira, I wanted to give you a chance to tell people where to find you, what you mentioned, your cover letter, resources that you have available, and just your parting words of wisdom for frustrated job searchers.
Okay, so where I can be found. So I'm Camara Toffolo everywhere. And I hang out most on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So you can find me there. I hope you found my videos helpful. I post new videos every Thursday. I'm very active in the comments. So let me know what questions you have, and I will do my best to help. In terms of people feeling a little demotivated with their job search, things are really heating up right now. And in health, you're in a very good industry, particularly for the state we're in right now. Just keep at it, but do not underestimate and do not overlook how important it is to first get your target job nailed down before anything else, because that is just the most important part. And it will I think it will really help you optimize your job search where you may have been running into some obstacles. It's almost always the answer.
Thank you for listening to the Public Health Insight Podcast, your go-to space for informative conversations, inspiring community action. If you enjoy our content and would like to stay up to date, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. To learn more about our community initiatives and how you can support us, visit our website at thepublichealthinsight.com. Join the PHI community, and let's make public health viral.